Good afternoon, artists. I'm so glad to be back with you. Today we're going to do a really fun project of a castle. So this castle, you might have seen it before. It is located in the south of Germany on the Austrian and German border. Its traditional name is Neuschwanstein. It's a famous castle that was built in, I think he started it in 1868 and finished it in 1886. By the king of that at that time. Ludwig was his name. And I always tell my students that no idea is usually original. Like, he got his idea from somebody, and then there was another castle that we are all familiar with that came from this castle. So at some point in his life, it is said that Walt Disney traveled to Germany and saw Neuschwanstein, and that was his inspiration for the Disney castle. So we're going to go step back in history and do kind of a more traditional Neuschwanstein project today. It's going to have a lot of layers in it, and it's going to be a really fun project for you and I to do. So as usual, you'll need a piece of paper. It can be just copy paper, a pencil, and if you have it, a Sharpie. I'll be drawing in Sharpie today so that you can see what I am doing on the board behind me. And for those of you that don't know, the reason that I love to use the Sharpies is because I have a philosophy that says that it creates eyes that see, because you have to slow down and take your time. And if you don't like something, you have to then turn it into something else, rather than hands that constantly want to erase. Now, when the students get older, I totally let them draw in pencil because they've conquered their fear of it not being perfect, because art is never perfect. It's not always about the process, it's about the product. No, I said that backwards, didn't I? All my students should know that. It's about the process and not the product that we're after. So in everything that we do and every time we do it, we learn a little bit more. Okay, so let's get started today. The first thing we're going to do, which we always do, is we put our name at the bottom of our paper. So right here, bottom right-hand corner, all artists put their name on the bottom of their paper, just like that. I'm going to turn a little bit more light on there. Unfortunately, the light outside just dimmed, and so you weren't really able to see what I'm going to be doing up here. Okay, so Neuschwanstein is actually up on this beautiful hill. You have to take a walk up. It's built on a large mountain, and so we're going to kind of construct what that would look like. So I'm going to construct a straight line that comes across, of course, that is not perfect, and then a line that comes off my paper and off my paper for our base. Okay, so in the middle of our paper, like if I were to divide my paper in middle here, I could kind of see right in the middle of my base the door. So curve line over, and if you'd like to put some traditional castle wood in there, that would be fine as well. Those little details. And at any point, if you need to stop the video and take a minute, some artists are fairly quick and some of them are slow, so we all operate at different levels and we have to understand that. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to this straight line and that one. So it's not all the way over. It's right about here and here. And then we're going to practice a skill, which is important. It is actually the straight line over, straight line down, straight line over, straight line up, straight line over, straight line down, straight line over, straight line up. And we're going to continue that all the way across. For some of us, this is really easy. Just keep saying to yourself, straight line over, straight line up, straight line over. Oh, I'm going to connect mine right there. Yeah, it's not perfect, but that's okay. I got to practice a new skill, and that's what's important. My little castle right here, so we can see where we're going with that. So we just finished this part. So now we're going to do some windows. So I'm going to come again straight up from here, and I am going to make a little window here. Now you can make the window like this, or you can make it straight line with the curve over. It doesn't really matter. On both sides of those though, you're going to make another window just like it, a little bit lower. Okay, at the top here, we're going to start with a straight line that comes just past my window and then down on both sides. And then I'm going to go across here and down. And depending on how much room, if you have room, you could go over and down again. If you don't, just go straight down. Remember, this is inspired. It's not really meant to copy exactly. So I like to have the ability to tell my students to put a little bit of their own taste in there. The only thing I ask is that they don't put little people on top, that it's with little word bubbles that say "Hi Mom" on it, because this is traditionally a realistic project. Okay. So now let's think about these two shapes here. So this shape is coming up here and it goes across and then it comes down to right by this right here. It can touch it, but it doesn't have to. And the same thing from the other side. It goes up, across, and down. Now the tricky part is these two have to be equal. So you got to make sure that you know. Sometimes I come over and I put a little dot there so I know where I'm driving to, so that I know that when I come up, over, and down, I'm about equal there. That's the hardest part of it. Now, these are round, and so one of the ways that we can show that it is a round shape is we extend that line a little bit more, and then we come in on both sides like that. And then we put the top on so that it has a dimension to it. So same thing on the other side. I extend it a little bit more. I come down and then I come up and over. You can make them pointed, but it doesn't have to be. And then you can add some windows like this, or you could add windows like that, whichever you prefer. Now, traditionally, if it was more of a fortress, you wouldn't want your windows to come all the way down because it's protecting the outside. This was meant to be the home of Ludwig built. There is actually a beautiful lake behind it, and it sits at this bottom of this very jagged mountain range. And it overlooks an entire valley. So nobody could really attack from coming over these mountains. You would have to come from the bottom and you could see anybody that was coming from far off. It is built in what we call the architectural Romanesque times. And to date, about 61 million people have come to visit this castle. You can visit it in the summertime. You can visit it in the wintertime. It's beautiful inside. I've been there maybe two or three times during my lifetime, mostly because we go to visit family. Okay, so right above here, I have these really interesting designs right there. So they're here and here. So we're going to connect those. We're going to kind of build those in a space that we haven't defined. So they are just simple little rectangles here. Just like that. But they do have windows in them. And the windows are much smaller because we want to show that we're getting further back in the castle. So the windows up front are larger, the windows in the back are smaller, all showing dimension. And the same thing, these are round, and so you want to extend them a little bit and then put your little tops on. And if you want to get a little further, you put the other little line here and here. So feel free to focus in or focus out at any point during the video. Okay, so how do we connect this? Well, we're just going to connect this with a line across here, and then a line that comes from here and here. Now, in this larger one, I was able to put some windows. If you want to put another window in there, that is awesome. If you don't, that's okay too. So we're moving on up in our castle building. Next thing we're going to do is this angle line here, which is our rooftop. This is a larger piece of paper, so it's larger, okay? This one, I had enough room where I actually was able to put like a little balcony. I think that's a little balcony or more windows right in there. Okay, so I'm basically going to go up in my space and down. So we're going to design this depending on your space. So I don't have a lot of space. So I am going to build a little square, but not the whole thing. And I'm going to make that pattern all the way down. Straight line across, straight line down, straight line there, just so it's there. And if you want to put another window there, you can. Remember, this is an inspirational piece. We can kind of make it how you want. If you go into the detail section and you think to yourself, oh, Mrs. Vaccaro, I want to put cute curtains here, or I want to put some lines through all of my windows. Those are embellishments, extra things that you are totally able to do that will make your picture just a little bit more detailed, okay? But we do kind of do that at the end. So now we have this tower and this tower. So it comes from this shape, and then it comes into the back. So I'm going to go a little bit further up from here and a little over, and I'm going to just put a line here across, and then I'm going to bring my line down. So I'm bringing my line down at an angle, not straight down, because again, this shape is round, and that one as well. Sometimes I do a better job than others, but you know, like I said, I'm not perfect. It's not going to be perfect. So the same thing over here. I kind of want to think about where I'm going. I need it to fill this space here. So I'm going to put a line there. It's going to come down here. And oops, I'm a little far there. I'm not going to worry about it. Right in there. So I've got two more towers. Now, they do have this detail on the top on this side. Okay, so again, I'm going to say straight line across, up, over, down. Straight line across, up, over, down. These are little details, but not on that side in the original one that I did, which is fine. So now I'm going to go ahead and put some fun windows in there. And I like to spread them out. I like to think like these are the staircases that the servants are climbing. Maybe one's the servant, maybe the bigger one is the one that Ludwig would climb. Alrighty. Okay. So now we've got that top here and top here. The towers are different. You can kind of see like this one is a little bit higher. So this one, I'm going to extend it out just like we did on the bottom and come up and over and give that tower a little dimension. Now, you'll see on this one, I put a flag. You can do that. Straight line up, it curves over. This one has to match and then pull it down. You can even put a little dot there. I did that. And if you want to stick a little window behind there, another little tower, you could. You can see like there's these little towers right in there. Sometimes you see them, sometimes you don't. There's one even on the Disney one. So I'm going to hold off today. Okay, so this tower here is a little bit larger, okay? And then there's one behind. And so I'm going to go ahead and put this one on right there. So it is more of a square. And then it has a round space. So I'm going to pull it out just a little bit. Put another one on there. And then put the top on. Okay. Now, this one is kind of fun. It has some windows that are like this that kind of come down. And then in this one, there you might want to put some small little windows in there like that. Just get creative. This one in the original, it looks kind of like it goes around, so you might want to put a curve here and a curve here. Like you could come out here and walk. Think and add things from your imagination as well. So there's one more tower. I can actually fit it. I think what happened here is I got too high and I was not able to fit it. So if you don't have a lot of room, I'd say just wait a minute. I'm going to go ahead and tuck one more tower back there. Just like that. And put some little designs in it, some curves here, just for fun, and some windows. Okay, awesome. So now I'm going to define my project a little bit more. I'm going to put those high mountains in from behind. And because I'm drawing in Sharpie, I'm going to have to, if I come right through that line, I'm okay. But I cannot go through my mountains here. So I'm going to start another mountain and come up. And these are pretty tall mountains. So you kind of want them to come and have like a peak to them. There's actually another horizon line that we can put in there, which is kind of like this and this. And that's more mountain, and these are more tree-like. I know on this one, I went ahead and colored it all green, but that's okay. So there's actually a concrete or stone road that travels all the way up our picture. So where I hit this bottom right there, I'm going to kind of come over like that, and I'm making the top or the road to come off. So I have this little line here and this line here. I love when I make mistakes because it always gives me an opportunity to change things. I could actually make this road with some little lines and some little scribbles, a rock road if I wanted to. I'm going to finish that in a minute. And if I want to show dimension, I could add a tree down below. So I'm going to pull this up here now. So this one, I have this kind of a tree, but if I wanted to do like an evergreen tree, I could put an evergreen tree that's going off the paper. So that tells us that we don't know where the bottom of that tree is. I can also maybe, if I want, fit another one in here. And I actually want to keep going because I want to show that that tree is super tall, which gives it a little bit more perspective. If you want to put another one over there, stop the video and go ahead and do that. Okay, so let's talk about coloring. Now, when I started the project, in this one, I was using oil pastels. But we are home these days and we don't have oil pastels, so I'm just using crayons, which is totally fine. So I'm going to start with the sky. I want the sky to flow across the page, so I'm just going to use a really pretty blue to kind of bring some color in there. And it's flowing across the page, and I'm being super careful about it. All the way off. Okay. And then do you remember I said like this was more like the mountains? So I could use, like if I wanted to, I could use a little bit of black very lightly to show the rocks. If I mix a little bit of the black crayon with a little bit of the blue crayon, it will actually make it look like it has a little dimension. You might even want to try using like a little bit of purple in there, because if the sun is going into the back, it gives it a little bit of color. Okay. Then I move over to my other mountain over here, and I'm putting a little bit of blue on first, and then I'm going to go in and put a little bit of the black that we used. And I'm scribbling just a little bit. I know I always talk to my students about scribbling, but especially when we want to make something that won't blend really easily. It's a good way to do it. Okay, so I've got sky and I've got mountains, and then I'm going to go for greenery. Okay, so if I'm going to do my tree down here super dark green, I'm probably going to, and we've talked about this, outline it first. So I outline so I know where I'm going, right? And then I color it in. And then I take a little bit of the green. Now, trees would not flow across the paper. Trees would either be like circular or up and down shaped, depending on where they were in the background, right? So circular, very organic, free, or up and down shapes. Okay, but that's not enough color. I'm going to take actually a lighter green, and I'm going to go back over it all up and down and try to cover that whole space really well to blend all of the darker green in with the lighter green so that it looks like it has some dimension. See the difference between this side and that side? Again, trying to outline my castle first so that I don't have to be as careful with it when I'm coloring. Okay, looks awesome. Alrighty, so pick a color for your tops of your towers here. So on this one I chose gray. I don't have gray today. I have a black, but I don't have a gray. So I'm going to go over mine with brown. So I've chosen brown, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to do all the tops the same color. Just think about how hard it was to build something like this. How they had to haul all the stone. Some people say that he was a little crazy for wanting to build these. Okay? So then I think it looks really good if you can, in this section, do that same color, whatever you chose in that angle line right there. Okay, you might even want to come down and do your little door in brown. And then think about what color you want for your windows. You could use a light brown. You could use a light purple. You could use a pink. Like if you wanted to get really super fan, I used more of a yellow or a golden on those. Like you could do, because this is a fun castle. Again, we're not making fun of it, but it is fun. I'm going to go ahead and make all of my windows in here, all my positive and my negative spaces in here, pink. All inside. So we won't tell Ludwig that we painted all the insides of his windows, but you could also use blue because glass is blue. You could use, like I said, a light purple. Have some fun with it. Okay. And then think about maybe coloring the castle, but not all of it. Like, I think that you should maybe take like a light brown and maybe a yellow, and certain areas, put a little bit of yellow in your space here. So remember, we need to use the color 3 times for it to have rhythm. So I've used it once there. I'm going to use it up here and here and here. So this is like a second one. And then I might put it in here for 3rd so that it will have rhythm in the color. Okay, then I'm kind of done with the yellow. So, and the brown I've already used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different places. So that's awesome. Other colors I could use would be like a light orange. Maybe I want to put like a light orange in this tower over here. And so I'm going to put light orange in that tower here. And then maybe I'm going to go up here and put light orange in that one. In that tower to match. So I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got rhythm in the color. I've colored with a purpose. Okay, and then, oops, I forgot my tree down here. So I'm going to go down here and finish my tree. And then I'm going to put just a little black in my road here. Just like that. And then I think the only other thing I need is a color for my flag. Now, I'm just going to choose a really pretty pink flag today. Now, if you feel like you want to use, if you want to color the whole castle, go for it. I'm going to use a little bit more of that pink here and here, because again, I want to create some rhythm in that. And then I might come down here and do one of these windows and these windows pink, so that I've added it in more than one place. Okay, that's our project today. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, it did become eventually the inspiration for the Disney Castle at Disneyland. And so I hope that you will join me again for a really fun lesson next week. Thanks so much, and hope you are having a great time homeschooling.